Welcome back, lads. Shane here with Shootin' Crews, and today we are going to be diving into the world of airsoft. That's right, I've got an Airsoft 300 Blackout Krink here, and oh, wait a second, this isn't it. This is my Airsoft Krink clone. Okay, now we actually have the Palmetto State Armory 300 Blackout Krink. This puppy just dropped not too long ago. It's already sold out 2 times in the last 2 to 3 weeks. I ordered this gun maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago and just received it last week. So we've already got a stamp in process. I certified it yesterday. So we're waiting on that so that we can make this gun truly what it is. Now we all know that Palmetto State Armory has kind of been iffy as far as their quality when it comes to their AK line. However, the 5.56 version has been out now for a little over 8 months, and I think that they're starting to work out some of the kinks. If you got one of the earlier models, you might be having some problems. However, the good thing about Palmetto State Armory is that they have a lifetime warranty, so I'm not sure how difficult it is to actually send in a gun and get it fixed, but if you need to, that option is there. I'm hoping that since the 5.56 version has been out already for close to a year, that they've got some of the kinks worked out as well for the 300 Blackout. I almost pulled the trigger initially on the 5.56 version, but to me, out of an 8.4 inch barrel, it really didn't make a lot of sense to get a 5.56 version. So I waited until they were gonna release a 5.45 version. And we all know that the initial Krink came in 5.45. Of course, there were 7.62 versions too, but whenever they announced that they were doing 300 Blackout, I stashed away some money and was ready to order this thing as soon as I could. In this video, I'm gonna be covering the specs of the gun, firing subs and supers, as well as some of the shortcomings that may come along the way. And my plan is to have a series on this gun, releasing updates on it at specific intervals, probably 500 rounds, 1,000, and then every 1,000 after that, so that I can report in on whether or not this thing is actually a reliable gun. As you'll see later in the video, I don't actually have the proper drum sight tool for the front sight on AK. Evidently there might be more than one size, so I can't really vouch for the accuracy on this gun just yet, but we'll see if we can get some tight groups on it and at least say that it's reliable in the sense that you can get decent groups. Before we get into the video, I'd like to thank the sponsors of the channel, which is you guys at this moment, the viewers. So please like, comment, and subscribe. All I can say is that I just appreciate you watching every bit of this video. And if you can, watch some of my other videos. Right now, we just need view hours. Thanks, let's get into it. If you're a fan of compact weapons that pack a punch, then you're in for a treat. This little puppy is not just about looks, it's designed for serious gameplay on the airsoft field. All right, first off, let's talk about the design. The Krink combines an iconic Russian aesthetic with compact functionality. Its compact size makes it incredibly maneuverable, perfect for tight corners and close engagements. And speaking of compact size, we've currently got this Krink with no brace or stock due to the NFA's absolutely useless and idiotic laws. Don't worry, as mentioned, we currently have a stamp pending and I've got a brace on the way, ordered from a guy off of Gaffs. So either the stock will be on in the next video or there will be a brace. I promise I'm not gonna put the stock on this gun until I'm legally allowed to. But I do find it really interesting how stocks on SBRs make the gun more deadly unless you pay the government $200 and then it's perfectly safe. Now, I'm thinking about going 2 different routes with this Krink. I'll either leave it classic how it is with the booster, but most likely I'm gonna at least suppress it. Here I've got my KP9, which is pretty much decked out, Zenitco, EOTech, stock. Yes, I have a stamp for this one. And then this Resilient Suppressors RS9, which just kind of has a nice Russian aesthetic to it. I've got the Lahar 30 here as well, so I'll probably be running both of these on here and see which one performs better. But I think overall I'm probably going to keep the wood aesthetic on the Krink plus a suppressor. And then I've got a Romeo 5 on the way, also bought on gaffs, that I'm probably going to mount on the top of this thing just to make it obviously more usable. This RS9 is actually a really sweet suppressor. The KP9, I'm going to be doing a video on that. I know I've said that 1,500 times, but I'm waiting until I get an actual camera guy to get a good quality video on this one. We got a CMC trigger in there, a Rifle Dynamics buffer, so the cycle on it is shortened, and the trigger I think is like 2 pounds or less, so it's easy to gump fire that one, and yeah, it's just awesome. And then there's subs in there too. You basically just hear the action of the pistol or the rifle itself. So like I mentioned before, the 300 Blackout actually makes a lot of sense out of a short barrel rifle like this if you're not able to get 5.45, which as Americans right now we are in a struggle where we basically can't get 5.45. Nobody in the US is producing it. It's only basically what's already been imported and nothing else is coming in. So people have been stockpiling it, and it's either unobtainable or it's really expensive when you do find it. So anyways, 300 Blackout can be shot out of a short barrel rifle like this. The PSA Krink has an 8.4-inch barrel, as do other Krinks. And out of that short barrel, it makes 300 Blackout perfect. It performs well. You can also run subs and supers out of this thing. I'll get some footage a little bit later showing running the Krink with subsonics. I've got some Magtech over here, which by the way, today we're shooting AAC, 150 grain, and then this Magtech 200 grain. So these are the subs here. I've only got about 50 rounds of those, 160 of the AAC, and we're gonna dump it all today for you guys to see how this thing performs and see if there's any malfunctions whatsoever. Hopefully there aren't. All right, everybody, these are the first 5 rounds out of the Palmetto State Armory 300 Blackout Krink. Straight out of the box, let's see if it's zeroed. That was a hit. I think it's missing low right now. All right, so we did take some initial shots just at a standing still target, 80 to 90 yards. We've got a target at 25 yards here. We're gonna zero it there. Being a shorter length barrel at 8.4 inches, there's really no need to zero this thing out any further because most of your engagements with this are gonna be within 200 meters, so we'll see where we're at 25. We're gonna put 5 round groups into this 25-meter target and then see where we're at, mark it, and then move on. All right. Let's make sure we're empty. All clear. All right, pretty atrocious group here. I'm gonna have to get something a little bit more sturdy to get the zero. This is a terrible group, but I'd say center somewhere around in this region. So if anything, adjust the windage to the left just a little bit here, and then we'll see how it goes. So funny enough, my AK front sight tool, does not fit around the leaf sight. So we're gonna have to try a more Russian comm block method and see how it does. We'll see. Okay, we went ahead and made some very precise adjustments. Let's see how this next round goes. By the way, if you're missing to the right with an AK, what you do is you push, using a proper front sight tool, you push the drum to the right so that your front sight post moves to the right. That's going to pull the barrel to the left on your point of aim. All right, see how it goes. Make sure we're empty. Let's check it out. All right, look at that. Much, much better group. Looks like I pulled one. I either brought my group in and had a better shooting mechanics, or hitting it with the hammer actually might have done something because, well, I don't know. I said my center was here before, so I highly doubt it did anything, but you know what? At 25 yards, I'm happy that the elevation's decent. We'll just have to make sure when we're shooting out to further distances that we're going to be holding a little bit to the left. And obviously it's exponential. The further you go out, the larger this distance off the target is going to grow. All right, we've got a 30 round magazine. These are supers, so nothing special about them. And yeah, it's going to be really lame here. This is seriously the gayest thing I've ever done with a gun. I'm so sorry, guys. This does not feel right at all. Tally ho, lads. Nothing crazy yet as far as malfunctions. See up in there. Cycling fine. Now let's try some subsonics. Like I said, I only have 50 rounds of subsonics. These are Magtech 200 grain. We'll see if it cycles well. All right, super was first. Now, when you do order this gun from PSA, it'll either come with a brace. You can buy it like I did. It's $1,000. I think with a brace, it's like $12.99. So I opted to get the cheaper version because I already have brace set up, all that kind of stuff, and plan to stamp it anyways. So I didn't want to pay another $200. Or you can get the Sure Shot chassis. I know I was talking earlier with the KP9 as far as, you know, tacking it out and making it look really cool and all that. But there's something special about the way the wood looks on an AK, especially a Krink, such a historic gun. So yeah, that's gonna be a path that I'm gonna cross. It'll be a fork in the road that I'm gonna have to decide on whether I wanna go with like a Sure Shot chassis. The Sure Shot chassis actually looks really cool, but I don't know, it's like 750 bucks. And for a range toy, I really don't know if I wanna spend that much more money on it, but we'll see. So if you've seen any videos so far on the 300 Blackout Krink, you've probably seen its unique gas system. So it does have a traditional gas tube cover here. It's basically just a piston rod. So let's open it up. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Take the spring out and the actual bolt. So far, I don't know if that's just dirt and gunk or if that's some kind of fragments from the rounds, but I haven't lubed this thing up at all, and it's nice and oily straight from the factory. So you can see there on the lugs, no crazy wear or anything yet. Obviously we haven't put through a ton of rounds, but we'll get there. Set that aside for now. So basically a piston guide here, not an actual gas tube. What they've done is taken a shortened AR gas tube here. So when the round's fired, the gas goes up, travels down the rod here, up into the front sight gas block, and it pushes gas back through the piston rod here, and that drives the piston back up against the spring and allows cycling of the gun. Evidently, this is not the first time that this has been done on a Krink. I'm not sure which companies were doing that or which countries, but this is not necessarily a new design. So to put it back, just push it in, clamp it down, and it actually latches in once the piston and everything's in. You don't have one of these actual takedown levers right here like most AKs do to get the top handguard off. Put the spring back in, and then close the dust cover here. And functions check. Good to go. Okay, so PSA's website doesn't actually say the weight of the trigger, but I wanted to go ahead and ghost it for you guys and see how it is. So this is a rolling trigger here. There's no wall. Pulling, pulling, pulling. Do it one more time with the other hand. So I'm not a fan of rolling triggers. I like to have a nice wall there, especially when it comes to zeroing. When I was trying to zero this thing earlier, it was really hard. You basically just have to be super steady through the entire pull, and then it's just kind of a surprise when it goes off. One of the plans for the Krink is probably to get a different trigger in there, one that actually has a breakable wall. I just like them better, and I'd like a lighter weight. This one's not super heavy. I would honestly say it's like 7 pounds, maybe less, 5 to 7. But I would like to get down to like a 2 to 3 pound trigger. Guys, once again, thank you so much for watching the whole video. Like I said, right now, I just need view hours, but if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Please like, it helps boost the channel. And if you're subscribed, you'll be able to know whenever I'm dropping more videos on the PSA Krink. So far, we shot about 140, 150 rounds today. Not a single malfunction. Of course, moving forward, we're gonna be including a stock and either the Lahar 30 or the RS9 suppressor on it. If one of you guys is a good AK guru and you know about 24 millimeter thread pitch and you've got a good host for hub suppressor, please let me know in the comments down below. Thanks guys, stick around.